So let's continue with our SharePoint quick questions and answers video session. And so we are going to talk about question number 4. What is the use of SQL Server in SharePoint and use of virtual path provider? In one of the previous session, we had said that SharePoint also uses SQL Server. We had said that SharePoint uses IIS as well as SQL Server. So in this session, we will discuss that why do we really need a SQL Server in SharePoint, and second, we'll discuss about one of a very important concepts called as the virtual path provider. Right. Now, when we talk about any site, there are two kinds of data for a site. One is the configuration data, which is basically used by all the sites. It's more of a standard data which is shared across site, and the another one is the content data, which is particular to a site. So, for example, a payroll will have some kind of personalized information or some kind of data which is only related to payroll, while the recruitment site can also have some kind of data which is only related to him. So these kind of data which is related to the site, or it's more personalized for that site, or is more specific to that site, is called as a content database. In this sense, there are two databases which are created over and overall. One is the configuration database, which is common for all the sites, and the another one is a content database. We will see in the further coming session that what basically these two of this database store. But at this moment, just remember that SharePoint uses SQL Server to store generalized information in the configuration database, right, and specific content data in the content database. So whenever you create a site, there is always a content database created. There is one more important concept which SharePoint has, and that is the virtual path provider. We had also discussed that basically one of the questions which must be coming into your mind is that what is SQL Server doing in SharePoint? Okay, understood that there is a content database which basically stores specific informations, and then there is this general database which or the customized database which stores more of a generic information. But basically, what is database doing over here? What is basically SharePoint storing the database? Well, SharePoint stores ASPX pages in content database. It stores custom pages in content database, right? Let me again explain you in more brief. When we talk about any site, there are two types of pages. One is a custom page and one is a common pages. Like for example, let's say that we have some kind of site collection. We can have forgot password.aspx, probably settings.aspx, such kind of common pages which can be used by any of the site in the site collection. So these are common pages, and common pages basically lie in file systems. In the sense, it lies like a normal ASPX page in IIS file system, right? While custom pages are stored in SQL Server in a content database, that is in the SQL Server content database. So now anyone, if he requests a page, depending on that it's a custom page or it's a normal page or it's a common page, it fetches from the content database or it fetches from the virtual directory database. When I say who fetches is, I mean to say virtual provider. The virtual provider is nothing but your HTTP handlers and HTTP modules, which we discussed in the previous session. So basically, as soon as you say, okay, when you request for a page, the virtual provider first says, oh, this is basically a content page or it's a customized page. So it goes to the content database, fetches it, gives it to the ASP.NET runtime. Runtime parses the page and gives it gives it back to the handler, and handler gives it back to the client. In the same way, if it is a common page or it's more of common pages like setting.aspx or forgot password.aspx, that's been fetched from the virtual directory, your file system normally, and given back to the end user, right? So in this way, we can say that when you talk about custom pages, they are stored in content database. When you talk about generalized pages which are not customized across site, are stored in virtual directory. We will see in the coming sessions that why basically SharePoint has architected in this way, where it stores the pages in the database. Because one of the thinking which must be coming in your mind is that if you store these kind of data, the pages code data into databases, and you parse it, won't it be inefficient? Won't it tomorrow when we actually try to scale the site, will not it create a problem? So we'll answer all this question in the coming session. In this session, as we wanted to just focus on that, what is SQL Server doing in SharePoint and what is a virtual provider. So basically, virtual provider is nothing but your HTTP handlers and HTTP modules, which basically determines how the data can be fetched. I'm going to say which files can be fetched from which source. Means it's from the content or it's from the virtual directory. While SQL Server basically is used to store the ASPX pages, or we can say customize ASPX pages.